Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of the Scratch a Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show. I am the Dude.
And I am Grim, and we are going to be discussing American Dream by LCD Soundsystem. Second installment for LCD Soundsystem.
On the Scratch a Track podcast presented by the Dude and Grim Show.
True. Yeah, true.
And I think Sound of Silver.
I think it's kind of poignant because in 2011 they basically broke up as a band and had these two giant sold out shows at Madison Square Garden, and we're like, look, this is it. We want to go out on good terms before the thing falls apart. And they played some awesome sold out shows. And then
peace out, Seacrest.
Yeah. Then they just took a break, and then there were rumors circulating, I think like 15, 16-ish that they may or 16. May not 16 that they may or may not. Yeah, come together to record another album. And I guess I had read where like James Murphy had said, the only way I don't want to replace people, the only way that I would do this is if everyone wants to come back together and do this. Exactly. And it sounds like luckily they did. And the result was a pretty awesome record.
It was. And there was, from what I read, maybe a little backlash by some fans or some online users because of that kind of getting back together, because they were really only broken up for really a few years. Like they played and then they got back together, and they had these big Madison Square Garden shows, which, you know, when you think about it, Graham, after we've made it and our career is really big and we do our final episodes at probably Madison Square Garden, you know, and everybody watching, you know, people, our fans, they would be pissed if 3 years later we just decide, hey, you know what? We're going to get back. We're going to scratch some more albums.
Yeah.
But Grim, here's the thing. Before we get to that point, we need lots of people to go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment below.
Will you please?
Because once all of you like and subscribe and comment and really help the algorithm, then and only then will we get more popular, and we be able to piss you off 3 years after we break up.
Yeah.
with our reunion show.
And the thing is, it's not like we're going to come to a head. I mean, you know, at this point in our lives, we've known each other long enough where it's like anything that comes up, we're pretty much just going to be kicking it in the Caribbean somewhere. It's not like, you know, we'll be just like scratching for fun. That's what we'll probably do is we'll be like, dude, let's just go on vacation somewhere with our, you know, wives, families, girlfriends, and just scratch albums for fun like we used to. Like how the whole thing started, you know, before it got out of control and it, you know.
So bring our discs all to the beach.
Yeah, before it was this giant money machine.
Yeah, we'll really be riding the bikes. And it's going to be a good time. So, anyways, back to American Dream by LCD Soundsystem. Dude, I read some cool things about this. Did you read that at Lollapalooza, they had an ice cream truck that was painted like the cover of American Dream?
I saw that.
And it played the songs, but it played them in like ice cream
speakers, so it sounded like shit
music. Yeah. No, I think it actually sounded like, you know, the tone, like.
Oh, I did not pick that up. I did see that, but wow, that's the
sweet. That's the way they made it sound. I don't know how one goes about doing that. I mean, dude, even if they just played the album through the ice cream truck speakers, that would have been cool too.
I really like it to think about it, though, that it sounded like an ice cream truck, because that is just a definitive sound. You know?
It was definitely a definitive sound.
Yeah.
Well, this one took a little bit to kind of get together. It says it took them about 18 months to record this album. Now, they recorded it in
several
New York,
locations, yeah.
A couple of locations in London, and then one in Portland as well. And they actually had tour dates booked in Asia and Australia,
and they had to cancel some, right?
They had to cancel. It's like, damn, dude, that's, man, I don't know, that's tough. I don't know if I would have. Part of me is like, maybe I would have played the shows and then just recorded the album after taking a break.
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? But, and maybe you have some thoughts and opinions on this, because I am not overly familiar with David Bowie's Berlin Trilogy.
I've listened to
a lot of the critics said that this album was kind of similar to that in the way the lyrics deal with sort of depression and social issues.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
Lyrically,
so I'm not as
familiar.
I'm not as familiar with those albums.
Yeah, he does have some interesting lyrical content on some of his Berlin Trilogy albums, and I guess the one to me that comes to mind that is real interesting lyrically, and it's not necessarily about depression, but maybe it is, because it's like it's called Breaking Glass, and it's on Low. And it's so weird. It's just like, it talks about somebody just like holed up in a room, like breaking things and like just like drawing shit on the carpet. And like, I don't know. It's like some weird shit. I mean, so I can see that.
Yeah, I definitely want to reach out and get some help. Call the helpline for a place like that. Well, and they even said that the closing track, which is
Black Screen.
Black Screen is an homage to Bowie. And Murphy actually, he wanted to get Leonard Cohen to do spoken word at the end of the track, but unfortunately Cohen passed away like a couple of days after he had that idea, so they never got the chance to do that. But I think that would have been something
that would have been really cool.
For sure.
Yeah,
go for it.
I was just gonna say, I think it is a very good comeback record. Because it's similar, but it's different, right? It's similar, but it's different to what they had done in the past. Like, you could tell maybe they just kind of got a little bit older in between, which obviously they did.
A little older, a little wiser. Getting
just
hair in really weird places.
Yeah, and pains when you move a certain way. But yeah, I just it's funny that you bring up like the lyrical content, because one that I always liked, which we'll talk about much more in depth in the song, is Tonight. Because I feel like it's just such a mock on all just like the stupid, shitty fucking pop music that has zero substance.
Yeah, I have some comments and thoughts and ideas about that song as well. And there's a couple other songs too that I think that's the main one though.
Fucking Emotional Haircut is also amazing lyrically too.
There's some interesting songs. And once I really started this time, I think it's different when you hear songs and even singing along to them and you notice you're able to recite the lyrics and recite the words. But I found this time listening to the song and actually reading the lyrics, I gathered more meaning this time.
Oh, okay.
I think
interesting
going through it, and I think if you sit down and actually listen to the song and read the words, at least for me, it became. God, this is going to sound so deep, but it became more than words. But I actually
whoa, dude.
Maybe they became more real. I guess I didn't feel like it was just putting words together and whatnot. So.
Now, aside from them having a sound that I feel like is pretty definitively them, LCD Soundsystem, did you hear, as you listened to it, was there anything that like struck you, or is like, I hear this influence or I hear this influence?
It's hard to say. I think since I've actually been listening to a little more Daft Punk lately, there was a few sounds and just kind of, I don't know, beats and things that maybe perked my ears up. Not to say it was like, a copy or an influence or anything like that, but I think that a little bit. I think there was more guitar that I noticed on this album than maybe I think Sound of Silver. But that's... Okay. Again, I haven't listened to Sound of Silver again lately. I don't know. Why do you ask? Was there something that stood out to you?
No, I just I thought it was an interesting question because a lot of times with rock bands and stuff, if we do an album like it's talked about, so like so and so had got off a tour or something, and they were really influenced by this or that. And I always, and now that ever since we started kind of having that conversation more, I think it's an interesting one because like for me, the first time I heard the song "Other Voices," I was like, that sounds like Talking Heads to me. Okay. It reminds me, and it gave me like the vibe of Remain in Light, which is an album that we're gonna do this year, but it's also come up. I think we talked about it in Kid A. Remain in Light was cited, but it just had that vibe to me, which I think when we do Remain in Light, you'll probably hear. And especially they do this guitar solo that's real noisy and kind of weird and almost synthy sounding. And dude, you will hear that because Adrian Belew does that style of guitar solo in Remain in Light. And it's an interesting kind of parallel.
Well, I think the thing for me is this album felt, and maybe it's because I read more about it, about the kind of depression and social issues and the fear, ending friendship and love. This album actually had more of a darker feel than, and I'm comparing most of it to Sound of Silver because that's the other album that I'm most familiar with of theirs.
Yeah.
To me, Sound of Silver feels like more of a party album to me. And
I can see that.
This doesn't feel that way as much to me. It does feel like there's a lot of longing and searching, and it has some more deeper moments.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
Now this album, it's interesting. It's 10 tracks and it's still well over an hour. I think like an hour and 9 minutes. But there was a bonus track, an extra track that they left off, and that song is called I believe Pulse version V1, which I think is version 1. But he basically said that song Pulse is supposed to be, he called it more of like an addendum to the record, and it's supposed to be played after the closing track, Black Screen. And basically the only reason they left it, he said the only reason that they left it off the album was the song would not fit or on the album on the vinyl format. So I thought that was pretty cool. He's thinking in vinyl. That's pretty neat. Yeah, it's at like an hour and 9 minutes. So that should fit on two like a double album, right? And then if you add another 14-minute song, especially if it's going to come after
because then you're at 80 minutes. Well,
Black Screen, which is a 12-minute song, you won't be able to fit
without screwing up the order.
Side.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, respected. So, I get it.
I thought it was cool though. He's like thinking in the vinyl format.
No, I wish more people, and that's one thing. Yeah, I agree. That is cool. And I wish more people thought like that because it's in this one too. This was one where the first many times I listened to it, I didn't really pay attention to the length of it. It was just something that I would put on. And then I saw it at the record store and I was like, oh, I kind of want to get this. But then once it was a double disc, I was kind of like, a double disc with 10 songs? Like, okay.
But there's a good reason for it.
Oh, there is.
Songs.
There is. And they're long.
Songs are long, man.
Yeah, they are. They are long.
Like 12 minutes.
And I don't know. I'm not saying I wouldn't get it, but I don't know. We've said it many times. There's just something really nice about just a single 33, a 12-inch 33. You know,
it is pretty badass.
But
it's nice. It's nice. So, yeah. I think we're about ready to get into it, Mr. Graham.
Yeah, we might as well.
All right. Cool. Well, let's start with track number 1. Oh, Baby. In this song, and we talked about this a little bit before, we definitely talk about the song, but it has a music video that goes along with it, and it's a very well produced and directed music video. Now, the Ryan Johnson is the director of the music video, and he did I don't know if you've ever heard or seen the movie Brick, which is a really, really cool.
No, I've
cool
heard
movie.
a lot about it, but I can't say that I have watched it.
Dude, I recommend it. It's pretty good. It's sort of this high school murder mystery ish, but it's got a real different feel to it, man. It's
Interesting. That's not what I would have expected.
Yeah, but also, he did Star Wars: The Last Jedi and Knives Out. I don't know if you've seen any of those movies, but he's kind of a big deal.
What happens? What's Knives Out about?
So Knives Out is there's this family and there's a murder. Well, Christopher Plummer passes away, even though he just passed away as an actor, and as a person in real life. He passes away, and all the family members and people are trying to figure out, like, did someone kill him? Who killed him? And Daniel Craig plays this detective with a horrible Southern accent. It's just awful.
I think we were gonna watch that. For some reason, we didn't.
Yeah,
but I was gonna watch. I've seen the preview.
It's worth a watch.
Yeah.
It's worth a watch. So, anyways, dude, this video was really good, and you were talking about it earlier. How you really dug it, huh?
Oh, dude, it's. There was a comment from a YouTube viewer that just said it's a very beautiful piece of visual storytelling, and that was an amazing way to put it, because there are no words in it. It only goes along to the song. The story is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking, but it's beautiful in its own way too. With the old couple, and they basically. I don't know. How do you want to say this? Not like
they call it a teleport. It's a
like a teleporting. And so, when his wife is, spoiler alert, his wife is shot, unfortunately. And when she's shot, you go in one side and come out the other, but it's like he just goes in and doesn't come out.
It's just pretty, I like that a lot.
And I like how in the different sides of this teleportation thing, it says here and there. And they kind of, I didn't really, I liked it in the beginning of the video, but I couldn't see where it was going. But some of those shots were just interesting to me, of how close in you got on just a pencil on paper. And what it looked like in the contour of the paper. I mean, details the human eye could never discern on its own.
Really see. Yeah. No, it is. It's very well shot, very well put together. So if you haven't seen the music video, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
But the song itself, I think it's a great opening track. I mean, the thing that I love and really stands out to me is just it has that just thickness when that hits it, like that bouncy thickness of the synth. It's just, dude, so good, man, so good.
Yeah, and it kind of eases itself in. You know,
one of my favorite kind of lyrics or words that stuck out to me was "Oh Baby," the name of the song. Lean into me. There's always a side door into the dark. I just thought that's kind of, dude, some really good words. And again, you learn a little more about what the album was about. I'd be curious to know where that comes from, what kind of life things maybe he was going through when he wrote some of this and some of these life experiences, because they're pretty intense at points, pretty intense. So, moving on, track number 2, Other Voices.
Yeah, this was one, not to say that I didn't like "Oh Baby," but this was one that, upon listening to it the first time, that immediately grabbed my attention.
I figured it would.
Oh, maybe it's not. I think I might have misspoke earlier in the episode, so don't crucify me on that. I think the Adrian Blue style guitar solo I was talking about is in "Change Your Mind," not "Other Voices." But "Other Voices" still, to me, has just kind of this Talking Heads sort of Remain in Light era vibe about it. And I don't know, I really like it. It's almost got it gets into a point where the beat just gets so thick and almost tribal, and I like the group vocals on it. I don't know.
It's Yeah, it's definitely to me. This is sort of the I think the trippiest song on the album. One of the trippiest songs on the album. There's one more that gets pretty wild. But
is this the one where he goes where he's like they're doing the vocals? And he's like, "Tell him, Nancy," and then Nancy Wang does like that spoken word part, and she says something like, "And it's freaking you out." Like I like that.
Yeah, there's just a lot of strange sounds and noises in this song. It just gets really funky. The bass sounds really funky. It's an interesting track. I will say that, my friend.
Yeah. And I think it's neat for that.
So neat. So neat. All right, track number 3, I Used To.
Yeah, to me this feels like a recollection of a relationship. Mm-hmm. That's and I don't know if I'm right on that or wrong on that, but that's what it felt like. And one of the lines that always stood out to me, and it was funny because my wife Lisa kind of got me into LCD Soundsystem, and we were listening to this like in the car going somewhere together, and that line came on about where he says, "I used to like your hair when you watched musicians." And she was kind of like,
I remember that line.
I don't get that. And I was like, sure, it's like someone just, like kind of going like this and their hair's all wild. Like you can imagine how this looks like a woman with really long hair. It just kind of, I don't know. I could for some reason that was a lyric that I could visualize when I heard it.
Sure. That makes sense.
And I think it's interesting because it's one that isn't necessarily maybe like the most accessible by the user. You kind of got to like think about it a minute.
Yeah, to me this song has a like a real dark feel.
It does.
And I think it's sort of about yes, like a relationship. What I took it as is someone taking someone out of their comfort zone and then leaving them. Sort of like leading them astray.
You led me far away and let me go. I see why you would say that.
Yeah. But also it's like he's saying I'm still trying to wake up. So almost like he's either caught in a dream or hoping that it is a dream.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. And it's funny because he repeats that enough for those lines stuck with me. But I never thought about but that's interesting. Like somebody, taking you to all these places and then just leaving you.
Good luck.
Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah. See you later. So track number 4, I think you had Change Your Mind, and you were talking about that a little bit earlier about it. Was it a solo or what was it they were talking about?
Well, yeah, because that also has kind of that feel to me, but it's this guitar, these noisy guitar solos that very much remind me of, I don't want to say it a million times on that, but Adrian Blue's work on Talking Heads Remain in Light.
Wait, just say it one more time. Just jam that thought.
It's Remain in Light, Adrian Blue.
Yeah.
Let me look that up and make sure it's Adrian Blue because I'm just kidding.
Okay. For me, what actually did really stick out in this song was the guitar. There's some really interesting riffs, and they almost have like this kind of machine-like squealing sound to them going on. And the song itself, I feel like is very erratic and almost has a disjointed feeling. Kind of like not fitting in, which I feel like the lyrics themselves are about isolation and reclusiveness. So I feel like the sound of the song actually kind of matches the lyrics and embodies everything that it's about. So
yeah,
I think if that was what they were going for, well,
they got it.
Got it.
Yeah, it was Adrian Blue, by the way.
Okay.
Just making sure.
Grim, how do you sleep?
I don't know. Dude, this was the song, one of the songs I would say that really got got me. And I mean, put in really plain English, it sounds like it's about a friend who had like a real coke problem.
It does.
I mean, he does pretty much say, "You warned me about the cocaine," and then you dove straight in.
It.
But one thing I've liked is I love that real prevalent but short delay on the drums. When when he's playing the drums, and the drums are tuned correctly to the pitch of to the key of the song. So he's playing those toms that but the delay also goes, it's like an extreme subdivision of the beat itself. So the way it works together with that slapping echo of the drums, and then the fact that they're tuned to the right pitches, it's really, and again, like you said with "Oh Baby," dude, when that synth comes in,
dude.
I mean, it's so fucking thick, and I like it. It sounds like it's on some sort of. It's like they have it on some sort of arpeggiated sequence, and sometimes they like throw random notes in there and other octave, not random notes, but like notes in upper registers and other octaves. And I think it's just, once it really hits, dude, it's really good.
It's really good. Everything hits at once. Now, I did notice that they kind of brought it back, because it does sound very similar how it does on "Oh Baby," and I think they use it again later in another song where it doesn't sound quite as similar. But it really kind of, I thought it was almost like continuing a theme, sort of.
Yeah, but this is it's dark. Like "Oh Baby" isn't necessarily dark to me, but like it's dark on this song. Like it is. Yeah. I don't know. This was the song that really hooked me in this album.
Really put the hook in you, huh?
Really put the hook in me.
Yeah. But I think it seems to be about overcoming the addiction as well, because at the end it's repeated many times. One step forward and 6 steps back.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure that's kind of how that process goes. Now, moving on, track number 6, "Tonight."
Oh, another fantastic one. And you said, I kind of alluded to my things about this just being a mockery of just these nonsensical, like modern day rap and pop lyrics, that everything's about just how important, it's all about tonight, like the party. And
sure. I think it's definitely sort of I don't know if it's a shot, but you could say a shot towards that kind of culture, but also also people just sort of looking back at who they were in sort of a social media aspect, and then not liking that, but almost in a way recreating that again. And because they say, but embarrassing pictures have now all been deleted by versions of selves
and versions of versions
that we thought were the best ones. Versions of versions.
No, that's a really good point.
Of rather repeating.
Yeah, because that is much farther along in the song, but in the beginning, I feel like it's more like about what I was saying. But you're right, it goes into that, and it's interesting. The one thing that I like is where it's a shot, is the way he articulates the word artists when he says, "I never realized all these artists thought so much about dying." I was just like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, way to throw that one out there.
Well, I think the thing is, especially going along with this album, it sounds like he's probably had some struggles himself. And I'm sure he kind of looks at some artists out there who are maybe singing and talking about how hard they have it and how tough life is, and some of their real trials and tribulations. And he's like, fuck you. You don't know.
Yeah,
you don't
exactly.
know. And again, that's not to take away from anyone out there or any artist who actually does have those problems, but there's sort of like an authenticity. And I think for him, he's like, that's where a lot of his maybe creativeness and artistic vision comes from, those darker places and that emotion. So it's one thing to sing about, it's another thing to feel it and have that be a part of the artist that you are, and sort of maybe unfortunately or unfortunately sort of your inspiration a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and I think on top of all that, I really enjoy his delivery. I think his delivery is great. Like the one line that always jumped out to me is how he kind of can go between like kind of singing and speaking a little bit, which I like. And dude,
he does do that.
And life is finite, but shit, it feels like forever. Like that's a really good line.
Yeah, he definitely does have an interesting, I guess, presentation of his vocals, because he can really sing, but he can also just sort of speak the words too. And I think he definitely does that in this song. And watching the music video for it, I don't know if you saw that too.
I did. I really enjoyed the video, because it's like everyone's tied to their instruments, but he has like that handheld recorder with the microphone, and he just keeps walking around.
Spinning around. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it has a very 80s type look to it, for sure.
And I like the part, what is it? Oh, and what is it you do again? And he says, "Oh, I'm a reminder, a hobbled veteran of the disc shop Inquisition."
I don't remember that, but...
Well, yeah, it kind of comes in a different voice, but it's like, it's interesting because when he talks about this right before that, he talks about, or you're too shocked from being used by these bullying children in the fabulous rattling off limited edition. It says shoes, but I thought it was truths. But then it says, "Oh," and he says, "Oh, what is it you do again?" And that's where I was waiting for him to be like, "Oh, I'm an influencer," but it just says, "I'm a reminder." But I feel like it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah. Hey, we're influencers.
Sure.
Influencing 318 people every Monday and Wednesday. So, all right, Grim, call the police.
Yeah.
Remember that scene from Scrooge?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
that's pretty great. So it's a good scene. Dude, this song is pretty interesting. It feels, to me, it actually feels sort of daydreamy. It has like a sort of a hopeful feel to it. But
yes.
The song, it's one thing they do, and they do so well, it almost happens without you realizing it or knowing it, is that they're able to really build songs up slowly. In some of their songs are lengthy, 5+ minutes, but this one starts off slow and kind of basic, and then it slowly builds up, and before you know it, you have all these layers.
Yeah, and it gets real thick.
And it's almost like, how did that even happen? You don't realize it, because there aren't these sort of hard transitions that I think a lot of other bands and other genres of music do. It's slowly building layer upon layer, and it's pretty cool, and they do it.
No, I agree, and that's what's interesting. You do bring up a good point. There isn't a whole lot of like stops and starts, and because I think about writing songs. And I like transitions, and I like choppy, I like chopping something and doing something totally different. But one thing I like about them is that it is this like slow burn to just a giant fire in a lot of
slow flow.
Yeah.
Slow flow,
really
bro.
Cool.
Yeah, definitely.
It takes a lot of discipline to do that shit.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
And I know we talked about this with Sound of Silver. Like, they just get on that groove so well.
They do. They do. And that's why maybe it took him 18 months to record this one.
Yeah, could be.
Yep. Moving on to the self-titled track, American Dream.
It's like an 80s power synth ballad.
It definitely is. And I'm not sure if this lyric stood out to you, but it sure as shit stood out
what?
to me.
You took acid and looked in the mirror? Of course, dude.
Watch the beard crawl around your face. I mean, here's the thing.
You're not supposed to look in the mirror.
You're not supposed to look in the mirror. Not that
it's like Bloody Mary, man.
Not that we would know, but definitely, yeah. Looking in the mirror.
What a friend told
weird.
me. I heard from a friend. Yeah,
from a friend of a friend, actually. It's a good thing we're friends. So yeah, dude, this is definitely kind of, the song is slower and chiller, but the way it sort of moves along, it gets into a flow, but it also has a depressive feel to it in some of the lyrics. Like he says that you're sick in the head and you wish you were dead.
Yeah.
It kind of gets a little dark there.
Well, and one thing I like is the reality of life and age, where he says in the morning everything's clear when the sunlight exposes your age. That's well said.
That is really well said, because I think that happens. Influencers. But dude, this also has some of that thick, bouncy sort of synth sound. Yeah. Now, dude, what is that? A specific synth, or how are they making that sound?
I wouldn't know that.
What is that?
I mean, you can just program that loop, because you're talking about that doom, dun, 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 dun. Yeah, you can really just program that loop. It's all about how you divide up the notes. I mean, I can do that on this little blinking beast back here. You can do that on a lot of them. And then from there, you chop that up and however you want to shape the song with, I know as we talked about in our Kid A, your ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release, which is how you kind of shape the sound wave. So it could be a lot of different synths, but yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, Graham, it's time to get a haircut.
Oh, one of my favorites, dude.
I figured this one would be another one of your favorites too.
I just
know. I'm
dude,
like,
any
if
song
a song's kind of weird, if it's weird and fucked up, you're gonna like it.
In a lot of instances, yes, but I like it musically too. It's not just, but dude, just anything with haircut in the title. It's just a word that you do not hear in the title of a song, or something that is very rarely discussed in songs. So when you see that, and then it's emotional haircut, so you can picture some kid with like some crazy. I liked it before I even heard it, and then I heard it and liked it even more.
Yeah, definitely. Well, dude, it's got some. It's weird, like in the beginning, it's got sort of this like nasty guitar and some feedback and everything. And dude, even the I don't know, to me it just sounds like the emotional haircut. It's almost like the guitar sound or the sound of the song. It's like the clippers are just starting to buzz, man. It's just like, dude,
and then I caught your eye when I stepped outside with my emotional haircut, and dude, the gang vocals on that, it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
It is. It's a fun, kind of funny song. I guess a little more. I would say one of the more lighthearted things on the album. At least I took it as that. I hear it that way too. Even though it's kind of about somebody who probably doesn't feel that lighthearted. Because they got their emotional haircut and they're, just kind of trying to. Hopefully they don't regret it.
Yeah.
So, moving on. The final track, Grim. Over 12 minutes. Black Screen. This one takes a while to kind of get going. As a 12-minute song, well, maybe I'd say 12-minute song should, because not all 12-minute songs do, but it definitely takes a while to get going. I mean, to me, it sounds like in the beginning, it's like this machine kind of warming up, and then the beat comes in. It has a really, really long intro. But this song is, to me, it's like a journey, and it's kind of building up to sort of something epic. And even when he starts singing, though, I feel like he starts singing, and I don't know if it's like an effect or something on his voice, but it almost has like this robotic tone to it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's such a. I think your analogy is a good one of like a machine warming up, which it's basically like a super extended version of fucking Unit 3021.
Yeah. Robot,
you know what I mean? Because that sounds like it's warming up, but they do it in like 15 to 20 seconds, where this is, probably like 3-4 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a longer startup cycle, and that's okay. I mean,
it's understandable. Different robots, different things.
Yeah.
But they have these background synths that kind of turn into sort of like this pulsating beat. And to me, again, they we've talked about that, how they get into the flow, but it almost creates sort of this trance in the song.
Yes.
I mean, the song it really does stay pretty mellow. But then the piano kind of comes in at the end, and the pulsing
I did like the piano at the end a lot.
That was a nice touch, because
it's like the human element to it. A lot of, like you said, a lot of it sounds robotic, and that brings in this like humanness.
Totally,
because it's not like programmed, and it's not. I don't want to say perfect. I mean, it is perfect for what it is, but you know what I mean by saying that.
I do. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Over here.
So, we did mention that the song Pulse version 1 was cut from this because it wouldn't fit on the LP, but it is meant to be an addendum. We're not going to include it in the scratch
list.
But when I listened to it, and I've only listened to it, I think, once or twice.
Yeah, I don't dislike it.
No, I don't know if it really fits the album for me. I just don't think it does. I
don't want to give anything away,
instrumental.
But I could argue some other things too.
Oh, okay.
Without giving away my scratch.
Okay. Well, we don't want to do that.
No.
But yeah, it is. It's about almost a 14-minute instrumental song. So if you're in the mood to check that out, then check it out. Let us know what you think below.
Dude, be good if you're just like going for a run or doing some exercise, man.
Mm-hmm.
I can get into the 14-minute instrumental synth-ish tracks then.
Just go, man. Just go.
Yeah, because you're not really just sitting there thinking about like, that you need to have all your homework done for the Scratch Track podcast. You're just kind of doing your thing.
Exactly. Not thinking about that at all. I'm just gonna cram it last minute.
I want to ask you before we scratch this. Favorite song in the album?
Dude, I'm gonna be so lame, man. I'm gonna be so lame because it's like the main single, and it's "Oh Baby."
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I love that thick, bouncy synth sound. That's just what does it for me. So I mean, and it's in a couple other songs too, but I really like how it's one of the first things you kind of hear on the album, and it sort of sets the tone, and
okay.
I think that's why I really dig it. That would be it.
All right. For me, dude, for very similar reasons, but you know me, I kind of gravitate toward the darker side of things. And dude, How Do You Sleep? I love that cut up and that wild sort of arpeggiated sequence that they get. It's just good, dude.
Yeah, it's a great song. I'd like that one as well. Like that one, and Tonight is another one.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Other voices. I mean,
yeah, I'd put those ones in my top.
Emotional Haircut. Oh yeah, maybe I should have said top 3. How Do You Sleep, Emotional Haircut, and Tonight.
All right. Time to cut, Grim. Time to scratch.
Oof.
What do you got?
I'm scratching the title track. I think it's very boring.
Ooh, wow.
Now, I do, especially upon reading the lyrics, I really think the lyrics are interesting, and I like that. But it's just it's almost painfully slow for me.
Understand that. Yeah, it is.
Oh,
it is. It is more chiller.
I
What?
thought I was getting the horn out there.
No. It is definitely a slower song and chiller song. I think I'm okay with that, but I do like the reference to the ass.
Oh, I know. Me too. Me too. But it's just kind of slow.
That's fair. Well, I'm probably going to scratch one of the ones that you actually like because I feel like it is one of the more weirder songs.
Emotional haircut?
No. It is one of the sort of stranger, I don't know, just weirder songs, a bunch of interesting sounds in the background, and that's other voices.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry, man. I got to throw it out there for this one.
What the fuck is that shit?
Yeah, dude. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's kind of all over the place for me, and that's it. It was just kind of a not my thing, not my jam.
Okay. Well, we're not
jam.
going into overtime, man.
No.
Fucking
No. What?
shit.
Would you rather have me cut that one or a fucking emotional haircut? I mean, geez.
Point taken.
So
Point taken. Don't fuck with emotional haircut. It's too good. Dude, it's better than it used to be.
Dude,
just like the lyrics say.
I got my emotional haircut earlier this week, and I'm very emotional about it.
I feel like I kind of do have an emotional haircut. I don't know if we talked about this, but like ever since everything started, I kind of been cutting my own hair, and it's looking increasingly like shit. And a couple weeks ago, man, I had this weird idea that I know I told you about. I was going to shave some lines in the side of my head.
Yeah,
and I
because,
accidentally
we're like
took
10.
And I accidentally took a chunk out of the side. So
Oops.
kind of a little bit of an emotional. So that one rings a little close to the chest for that one. So
Well, it's a good thing that
it seems like I've been misunderstood.
You certainly have, haven't we all? So, well, all right, Graham, I think that about scratches it. So everyone listening, watching, it would be great if you guys subscribe and commented below. Let us know what song you would scratch. Give us a comment. Let us know your favorite song. Tell us that we were right and you totally agree with us. Or tell us that we're wrong
And why?
And why.
Like, subscribe, and comment below.
Definitely. Why ask why? So we also have an episode of Sound of Silver. Maybe check that one out if you like this one. And maybe if you didn't like this one, maybe check that one out because you'll like that one better. I'm a big fan of Sound of Silver. For me personally, I like that album better than this one.
I do too.
That's just where I'm at.
But I do like this album, and I do like that it's a comeback album. It's an interesting story.
Yeah, come back later of the year.
And if you don't like either of those, there's always Crawling King Snake. Just saying.
Exactly. It's shorter. It's deep. All right. Thank you for listening, subscribing, and liking and commenting below. It's time to go. The Dude
Grim Show.
and Grim Show.
Scratch Your Track is produced by the Dude and Grim. Additional music provided by Moore and the Tims. Copyright 2021. The Dude and Grim Show.